Fascinating. Let's talk more about it with brand expert and Demandworks CEO Martha Pease. Thank you for being here. You just wrote this fascinating op-ed on CNN.com titled "The Puzzle of Women Voters," and it mainly compares Trump to Hillary Clinton and their strategy for women. Even if they're not going after the same women, some they are, for some female voters. You note this NBC Wall Street Journal poll that shows a steep decline for Hillary Clinton among women since June. What does this tell us?
Well, it's an astonishing turnaround. The poll is among white, educated women GOP voters. And what it shows is from June to July, basically a period of 1 month, I think you just showed the numbers, that the favorability ratings for Hillary have turned on their head. Right. That there are more unfavorable opinions of Hillary than there are favorable now.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this isn't GOP voters. This is female voters.
It's GOP.
This is GOP voters.
It's
okay.
GOP.
You point out women will provide well over half of the vote in 2016, and you think Hillary Clinton, this quote stood out to me, is quote trying to appeal to women in an old-fashioned way that doesn't work as well as it once did. What's old-fashioned about her approach, and why isn't it working?
Well, Hillary Clinton is most comfortable selling facts and advocating policies and defending herself and, in fact, managing the email story. And those strategies, those ways of communicating today are just not how women want to be communicated with by a candidate. And there's a lot of research, there are a number of studies that show that women take in information and make decisions differently. And what women really want is to have a case laid out in front of them, full disclosure, facts presented, and then be left to gather other information and decide on their own.
Right, you say they want to hear a case without a hard sell.
Yeah.
And you think she's giving, isn't Trump given a hard sell?
Well, Trump's selling himself, but his approach is so much, here I am, take it or leave it. I mean, his outrageousness is almost his strategy. In fact, It is his strategy. It's not just entertainment. I mean, he tells you exactly where he stands, and he lets you, as a woman, decide whether you're going to buy into it, whether you agree with it or not.
You also write, Trump, quote, is playing a savvier game. He understands that women voters are supporting non-traditional candidates. You go on to say they want a president to change the game itself. Is it too late for Hillary Clinton to take a page from the Trump book in that respect?
I don't think it's too late. I think she needs to find her own strategy to do that. I mean, it is a really telling indication in the polls that the leading candidate on the GOP side is a non-traditional candidate, and Ben Carson is there as well, and Sanders is coming up behind Hillary as well. None of those are traditional political candidates. In fact, 2 out of 3 of them aren't even politicians, and that's something that's important because the more you have a non-politician in a leadership position in polls, the more Hillary is boxed into a traditional politician.
She can't change her history.
She can't change her history, but she can change how she communicates, and she can change the way that she comes at particularly women voters. I mean, women voters of both parties who I talk to have a lot invested personally in being the driving force behind putting the first woman in the White House. Yeah. There's an enormous amount of commitment to that on the part of women voters on both sides of the fence, but they want the right woman in the White House. They don't want a politician who happens to be a woman.
Have a female option too on the GOP
Precisely.
side in Carly Fiorina. Fascinating, the puzzle of women voters. Go to CNN.com, read it, Martha. Thank you. As always, appreciate it. Don't forget, CNN hosting the next Republican debate live from the Reagan Presidential Library Wednesday, September the 16th, only right here on CNN.